Nissan is abandoning its plans for a US EV plant. Instagram is testing new limits on what types of posts teens can repeatedly see. And Blue Origin's CEO says that New Glenn will fly again before the year's end. It's Tuesday, June 2nd, and here's a quick look at some of the news happening in and around tech this morning from Engadget. Nissan has abandoned a $500 million plan to build all-electric vehicles at its Canton, Mississippi assembly plant, the company said in a statement to Automotive News. The automaker will instead shift production to conventional gasoline and hybrid vehicles at the 4.7 million square foot facility. It made the move to better align with market conditions, customer demand, and Nissan's updated strategic direction. As part of Ambition 2030, Nissan announced back in 2021 that it would retool its Canton facility to build EVs along with batteries for multiple Nissan and Infiniti models, with the aim of selling 200,000 EVs in the U.S. by 2028. But tepid US EV sales and the Trump administration's elimination of the $7,500 federal tax credit caused the company to rethink that plan. Last year, Nissan canceled its electric crossover in the U.S. along with two electric sedans, and now the automaker has completely dropped its plan to expand Canton, where all its U.S. EVs, including the upcoming PZ1K, were to be built. The company has 3 U.S. manufacturing plants, but only made the one EV in the U.S. Instead, it will manufacture internal combustion and hybrid vehicles at that facility, starting with a new body-on-frame Xterra set to arrive in the U.S. by 2028. That will be followed by the 3-row Nissan Frontier and at least 3 other models, all built using the same platform. Other manufacturers in the U.S., including Ford and GM, have also canceled or scaled back EV programs, focusing instead on hybrid or internal combustion vehicles. In other parts of the world, including Asia and Europe, however, EV sales are hitting new highs in the face of record gas prices caused by the U.S. war with Iran. Meta is experimenting with new limits on the type of content that teens can interact with on Instagram. The company says that it will now attempt to restrict repeated exposure to posts about anxiety, weightlifting, nutrition, and other content that could be inappropriate for younger users to see en masse. The new limits come after Meta took steps last year to prevent teens from seeing sexually suggestive content and blocked mature search terms like queries related to alcohol and gore. The company said at the time that parents should view its teen accounts as analogous to a PG-13 movie, a comparison that was roundly rejected by the Motion Picture Association. With the latest change, it seems that Meta wants to limit repeated exposure to the types of posts that do not violate its rules, but may negatively impact teens when viewed in large quantities. According to Meta, this could include content that relates to body image, like nutrition and weightlifting, as well as mental health, like how to cope with anxiety. The goal, according to Meta, is for these topics to be balanced with other types of content rather than shown repeatedly. The limits will apply to recommendations teens see in their feed, as well as Explore and Reels. Instagram, in particular, has long-faced questions about whether it leads younger users into so-called algorithmic rabbit holes, in which teens end up seeing repeated recommendations for content that affects their mental health and self-esteem. The topic also came up during a high-profile civil trial over social media addiction in Los Angeles. The jury in that case ultimately ruled against Meta. Meta also revealed that it plans to expand its more restrictive content settings for teen accounts on other platforms, including Facebook and Messenger. The new settings are rolling out to those apps later on this year. Blue Origin may or may not have to sit out the most immediate moon-bound missions for NASA. It just depends on who you ask. The agency's administrator, Jared Isaacman, told CNBC that it will take some serious time for Blue Origin to restore its New Glenn launch pad, which exploded on May 28th, and that a 2028 timeframe is within the realm of possibility. But Blue Origin's CEO Dave Limp believes his company can repair the launch pad much, much sooner, saying, "We will fly again before the end of this year." Blue Origin's Cape Canaveral launch pad exploded with the heavy lift rocket while the company was conducting a hot fire test to prepare New Glenn for its fourth mission. It is still unclear what caused that explosion on the 28th. Limp made the claim that New Glenn will fly again before the end of this year after Blue Origin regained access to the launch pad and was able to start its investigation. He said that the rocket's fuel tanks were in good shape and that the support tower is damaged, but it can be repaired in place rather than torn down and replaced. It's definitely in Blue Origin's best interests to get Launch Complex 36 repaired soon. The company is one of NASA's main launch providers for the Artemis and Moon base programs, with New Glenn being instrumental in achieving the agency's goals. NASA even chose Blue Origin for the Moon Base 1 mission that's launching this fall. In addition, its fellow Jeff Bezos-owned company Amazon is depending on Blue Origin to launch LEO satellites for the broadband service that it was planning to launch later on this year. New Glenn's fourth mission was supposed to carry 48 LEO satellites to orbit. The company is developing another launch pad inside the Vandenberg Space Force Base in California, but it is far from ready. It just recently negotiated a lease for Space Launch Complex SLC-14 with the U.S. government, but it will take around 2 years to prepare the facility for launch. Thanks for listening. There's more tech news at Engadget.com. This episode featured journalism from Steve Dent, Carissa Bell, and Mariella Moon. Enjoy your day, and I'll be back tomorrow with more tech news from Engadget.